guys, it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm so excited to make today's video because it's another University of Washington video, and it seems like a lot of y'all really gain a lot from these types of videos, so let's get started. Today's topic is how to choose which major is right for you, and I know you might be wondering, Jess, you dropped out of school last year and you are switching your major in your senior year, so how do you have any room to talk? Let me explain. As a rebuttal to that, I actually think that I am super qualified to talk about this topic because I personally know what it's like to go into a major and then later down the line realize that it's not best fit for you and you need to change gears. So if you're an incoming freshman trying to decide which major is right for you, or if you're in college right now and you're still not sure what you want to do, I got you covered. A lot of these tips are pretty universal and can be applied to any college that you choose to go to, but just know that I'm from the University of Washington, so that's where I am speaking from. I've kind of made this list in terms of do's and don'ts, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the do's. The first thing that I want you to do is brainstorm and identify your workplace values. It can be somewhat overwhelming to have to think of a specific job or even just a specific career field that you wanna go into because you might honestly have no flipping idea, or you might have an idea and you might not be 100% certain on it. So what I want you to do instead when you're starting off is to think about what you truly value in the workplace. Are you someone that doesn't mind working under someone else and loves collaborating with a bunch of other people? Are you someone that loves to be a leader and work as an individual and get your own stuff done? Are you someone that needs to go into the office, needs to go into the job, needs to just be in that environment to feel super productive? Or are you someone that loves working from home, you love the privacy, you love the comfort? Are you someone that would enjoy being a part of a super big, well-established company? Or are you someone that doesn't mind taking a risk working for a small startup company? Are you someone that values tradition and stability? Do you want to work a 9-to-5, 40-hour work week? Or are you someone that likes a changing atmosphere, or even a job where you get to choose your own hours for yourself? Or a job where you earn money based entirely on your effort and somewhat luck rather than just the hours that you put in. So those are just a few examples of some of the things you can be thinking about when you're trying to brainstorm and identify your workplace values. The next tip I have for you is to take the Pathway U's assessment. And I don't know if this is only for people officially enrolled in school or not, but regardless, you might be able to find like a similar version online. What the Pathway U's assessment is basically kind of like a personality test. The results of this assessment give you a better understanding of what you're looking for in your future career. This assessment is just going to be super helpful in determining what your specific workplace values are. What is super cool about this assessment that goes into my next tip is to look into the job offerings they have and look specifically at your very strong matches, and perhaps your good matches. This site gives you a list of jobs available on Handshake and on Indeed. You're able to type in a keyword to be more specific about the career field you're interested in. So let's say my keyword was NASA, then a bunch of job postings are going to be listed on this page. This was honestly super helpful for me to see because I honestly just didn't know that this many jobs existed at NASA, specifically this variety of jobs, which definitely made me feel a lot better pursuing a STEM career because I don't have to be a researcher or I don't have to be a mission control specialist. I can do so many other things related to that career that might be better suited for my own skills. My next tip for you is to look at the people on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has this really cool feature where you can search up certain job titles or certain keywords, and then a list of people will pop up where that appears in their profile. For example, I was able to identify that in the STEM field, I wanted to do more of the public affairs side of NASA, so that's what I searched up on LinkedIn. I just searched up public affairs NASA, and a whole bunch of people came up. What's super cool about these profiles on LinkedIn is that one, you're able to see the variety of people that have been able to achieve this job, but also you're able to see all of the experience they had and their education. So one, you're able to see what kind of jobs they took after undergrad that helped them get that final position that you're after. So you can kind of see what you might be expecting in terms of jobs leading up to that position. And also you're able to see their education, their chosen major in undergrad, which might give you a better idea of what you want to study. Because if you want that end job, look at what major they did. The next tip I have for you is to look at faculty. Specifically for UW, it is a research university. So probably at some point during your undergraduate years, you're going to be doing at least a little bit of research. So what I want you to do is look at a bunch of different faculty members and see what kind of research they're doing. Identify the projects that are interesting to you, and then on their profile, you're able to see what department they're in. By determining what kind of projects you're interested in and then looking at the department of the faculty member, you're able to determine what kind of major might be best suited for you. The next tip I have for you is to set up appointments with different departments' advisors. When I had this huge midlife crisis, even though I was only 20 years old, of trying to decide what I wanted to do with my life, one of the first things I did was talk to a bunch of advisors in different departments, because that way I was able to see, okay, if I'm going to continue my education at UW, I want it to be worthwhile, I want it to be important to me and my future career, so I wanted to see everything that was out there. As y'all know, I was majoring in astronomy and comprehensive physics, so I talked to those advisors, but then I also talked to the advisors of different departments. So I talked to marine bio, I talked to communications, I talked to ESS. These advisors have so much knowledge. They are a super important resource for you to use during your time at UW. Recognize that they're the type of people that students come to when they also don't know what they want to do, and the advisors have to provide the advice and the guidance for them. So just know that you're not alone if you're trying to decide what major is right for you and you don't know, or you might have changed your mind. They're the type of resource that you should be talking to because they get it. You're able to get a better understanding of what the major is like if you ask an advisor. Another question I asked when I was meeting with the advisor is, okay, what do you see the students that graduate with this degree do for their future career? And the advisors are generally able to give you a better understanding of what people do with that major. For example, I was super interested in marine bio, but I was really only interested in one aspect of it, and that was being able to train animals or be at an aquarium. But when I was talking to the marine bio advisor, he mentioned that while the animal training and aquarium jobs were existent, they weren't always the most popular in terms of being super available, especially if you just graduated undergrad and don't end up pursuing your master's or your PhD. So hearing that was super helpful because I know that I didn't want to be in a position where I would just do research in a lab. So knowing that that is where the majority of jobs were in marine bio, it helped me kind of identify that I didn't want to do that and I was better suited choosing another major. Also, by talking to the advisor, you are able to determine what kind of classes you need to take to graduate with that major, and that goes into one of my most important tips in this entire video, and that is to look at your course selection for the major. Course selection is so important in determining what major is right for you. I cannot even stress that enough. I went into UW thinking that astronomy and physics was going to be a breeze. It was everything I was passionate about. I was just going to love my life. It was going to be perfect. Perfect. But it was not perfect. And that is because the courses that I was taking were not aligning with my specific interests in astronomy and physics. What I did not know was that a lot of the courses I needed to take in astronomy were less about space travel and dark matter and black holes, and they were more about physics equations and math and electromagnetism and all this stuff that I really don't care about. So yeah, it was a little rough for me, gotta be honest. Specifically, look at the classes that are mandatory. I'm recording a video. No, I need to finish, my camera's gonna die. Really, in my YouTube video? Sorry for the interruption. Can you close the door?
Sorry, I need to take out my freaking dentures. My Invisalign.
Anyways, I'm just gonna talk over it. Whatever. So the reason why this is super important is because the classes in your major are ones that you have to take at some point during your undergraduate years. And if the majority of them don't sound interesting to you, then the major probably isn't the best for you. For example, let's say you want to be majoring in astronomy and you realize that a majority of the classes you need to take to graduate with that degree are heavily based on physics, unrelated to astronomy, then you might not like the major. If you really absolutely despise labs, then you're probably not gonna wanna choose a major that is STEM related, that includes a lot of labs. The best way to look at these courses that you need to take is to look at My Plan. So My Plan is a database that includes all of the courses available at the University of Washington, but you can also look at DARS, and DARS allows you to choose a specific major and then determine what kind of classes you need to take in order to graduate with that major. The next tip I have for you is think about the academic difficulty of that major. And you might not know that before you actually go into the major, but you can try and guess. You wanna assess what's important to you. Do you wanna have time outside of class to be able to join a club sport, or to join different RSOs, or to even just hang out with friends, or just eat a meal one time? Shower even. You just want to make sure you have enough time outside of classes to do other stuff that you want to do in college. If you don't know because you're not in the major, you can totally ask the advisors or even just ask students that are in the major, because they're probably going to have the best understanding of what it's like to actually be in it. The next tip is to think about different RSOs, student clubs, extracurriculars, volunteer, research, opportunities, etc. All those stuff outside of classes that you think you might want to get involved in during your time at UW. Usually for me, the clubs that I chose were a break from the major, but that does not have to be the case for you. My next tip is to ask yourself how you like to learn, how you like to study. Do you like memorization? Do you like hands-on learning? Do you like writing? These are all questions that you should be asking yourself, because think about it. The majors are going to have homework assignments, and you don't want to be doing homework that you absolutely despise simply because it's not the way that's best suited to the way that you learn. For example, I love memorization, I love writing, but I'm not the biggest fan of hands-on learning. So knowing that, I should have probably been able to determine that maybe stuff involving labs was probably not the best for me. So maybe just keep that in mind when you try to choose your major. The next tip is to think about what you absolutely hate. And if the answer is yourself, then you should definitely choose a STEM major. Jokes aside, definitely rule out any majors that involve anything that you absolutely hate and that would destroy your mental health, because you don't need that. That was more so a joke, but also not really, because a lot of times I will see students that just get through a major just because they're already in it, but they don't actually love it. And that just doesn't make sense for me, because why would you graduate with a degree and go through all the classes that you don't truly love? There is a difference when you don't like some of the classes you're taking just because the academic rigor is super difficult, versus sticking through a major that you've chosen that you truly aren't passionate about. Why would you choose to stick through that? I mean, I actually know a few of the reasons why you choose to stick through that, but none of those are gonna outweigh what's most important, and that is your happiness and where your future is heading. And you don't wanna be heading towards a future that's miserable. We don't do that here. So those are all of the things that I think you should do to help you choose a major. And now I'm gonna tell you a few things that I think you should not do when choosing your major. One of the things you should definitely not do is to only take classes within that major. Even if it's not counting towards your degree at all, I want you to take at least one different class outside your major. If you are someone that doesn't see a point in taking classes outside your major, trust me, I used to be like you. I used to think that it was a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of money, but really it is super important to kind of diversify your experience at UW so you have a better understanding of determining what you might actually like and what you don't like, and you would never know unless you try. Additionally, it could be a GPA booster to help with some of the classes that are actually very academically rigorous, or two, you can add that experience onto your resume. There's a section on your resume you can include called related coursework, where you can provide any of the classes you took in college and put it right on there. Imagine all you did was study nonstop, astronomy, 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 and then you decide you wanted to go into a communications aspect of the space field. They're gonna wanna see that you took a few classes related to writing or, communications or media and stuff like that. But if all you took was, astronomy, physics, math, you don't really have that diversified experience that they might be looking for, and they might choose a different candidate over you. So it's really important to diversify your experience, and one way to do that is by choosing a variety of courses available in college. The final do not do, which is kind of one I'm gonna end off with on this video, is don't be afraid to change your mind about your major. It's totally okay if you don't know what you're doing going into college, or if you are in your 4th year and you're changing your major. It's fine. It is never too late to switch. Never think that it is because you don't want to be 40 years down the line doing a career based on a major that you never really liked in the first place, and you are never willing to admit that to yourself or others. So to end this video, I just really want to drill in the point for you to always choose yourself, to choose your happiness. Do not care about what other people think or about what other people think what major you should go into. You know, you could be a sorority girl and not choose psychology or nursing or communications if you don't want to. You don't have to be her. You could still be super smart and not go into a STEM major. You need to not worry about what expectations people have for you and choose what you want for yourself. That is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! You're out of time, and now you're out of time.